Hey engineers, you already know how to build circuits with batteries, wires, LEDs, and resistors. Today we're going to add something that makes circuits way more useful in real life: switches. Imagine if you had to cut a wire every time you wanted to turn your light off, and then put the wire back on when you wanted to turn it back on. That wouldn't be very convenient, right? That's why we use switches. By the end of this lesson, you'll be able to explain the different styles of switches, explain the difference between momentary and latching switches, and select a switch for a project and explain your reasoning. Switches control the flow of current by either disconnecting it completely or directing it down a different pathway. There are dozens of different styles of switches. The most common types are push button, slide, toggle, and rocker switches. We choose the different type of switch based on the function and the way it's going to be used. A light switch has a different purpose from the buttons in a game controller. A game controller has switches that will be used dozens of times every minute when playing a game. A push button is perfect for that situation. A light switch is used once and then left for a period of time. For this, a rocker or toggle switch is much better. I'm going to build this circuit. I'd like you to build it with me. It's made of a battery, wire, LED, and the push button switch block. Once it's together, the LED only lights when I'm pressing it. This type of switch is called a momentary switch. It only works when you're actively pushing it. Buttons like these are used in most consumer electronics like Chromebooks, game controllers, and TVs. They're great for sending signals such as typing on a keyboard or game buttons that tell a computer or game system what to do. Momentary switches aren't only buttons. Toggle switches and other types can also be momentary. Now let's try using our other switch. Take the momentary push button switch out and replace it with a sliding switch. When we slide it on, the LED stays lit until we slide it off. This type of switch is called a latching switch. It moves into position where it stays until you move it back. If the goal is to turn on a lighter device, this type of switch might be much easier to use than a momentary switch because you don't need to hold it down. Like momentary switches, specific styles such as sliders, rotary, or toggle switches could be either momentary or latching, and some are even both. If you had to add a switch to the following items, what kind would you choose and why? Identify the style of the switch and whether it's going to be a momentary or latching switch. Awesome work today. Let's go ahead and review. First, we learned that there's different kinds of switches such as toggle, rocker, button, slider switches, and more. We also learned that some switches are momentary, meaning you have to hold them down, while others are latching, that you can let go and walk away. We then used our knowledge in order to choose the correct switches for specific problems. Now you know how to use switches and buttons to control your circuits, just like the engineers do, designing everything from lamps to game controllers. In our next lesson, we'll take these ideas even further. Looking for another challenge? Draw a circuit diagram that includes either a switch or a button. Be sure to label it clearly, then build the circuit using your kit. When you're done, write a paragraph to explain how it works. Present your circuit to a partner, teacher, or family member and explain it to them.